I am puzzled why I dedicated my life to something as insignificant as carpet. I made it my goal to recreate the concept of floor covering into an object of art, sexy and beautiful, and something when you walk through a room for the millionth time, you would still want to live with it and still love it. For me, producing something artistic is knowing the rules and breaking the rules. It is traveling to remote places. It is being hands-on with dyers and weavers. This is what really inspires me. From inspiration to completion, I would like to invite you on a journey to show you how we turn something seemingly insignificant as a rug into a real work of art.
Because it is a great place to work. It has traditions, it has yarns, it has skilled weavers, it has great people to work with. It is amazingly inspirational, and it is just a phenomenal place to work. So, love India.
We are about 2 hours drive from the oldest continuously inhabited city on the planet. It took us 6 hours drive to get here. Really middle of nowhere. And the carpet making center of India. Right, so this whole area is our weaving area. So this is our home. This is where we weave, experiment. This is where we make the coolest stuff we make. That's our home. You cannot make on handmade carpeting, on handmade broadlooms, you cannot make pattern. This baby can do pattern. The funny thing is we're using like 17th century technology really to do that. This is the first ever really computer, right? Because it's a programmable machine. The design is converted into the series of punch holes which control the pulleys, which control the warp, which create the design. So now we're at the looms. As you can see, we make broadloom carpets here. What is absolutely fascinating about this is that this technology actually did not exist for the last 100 years. Double weave and triple weave carpets, because that's how it is called, started disappearing about 100 years ago, and at this point, nobody makes them. Unless it's a very narrow production and it's not really suitable for broadloom application. We revived it. We trained the crews, we built the looms, we created the whole production. It requires amazing skill on the part of the weavers. As you can see, they work as one crew. It's a perfectly synchronized rowing team because the beating is essential for the perfection of the carpet. So they live together, they work together, they spend all the time together, and they work actually as one person. The guy is brilliant. He knows everything about weaving there is to know about weaving. Has, I don't know, 40 years experience. And now he's on his own, so he can really do what he really loves to do. And I think it's a great synergy between us and them, and great place to do development and production. So the only problem is, it's in the middle of nowhere. It takes hours and hours and hours to just get here. Every single one, it's incredible. It's like, you know, you walk into factories sometimes and you get like, you know, 50%, 60% success rate. You know, you reject some, you approve some. I mean, this is unbelievable. The whole thing is just perfect. Every single one. Every color, every design, every texture. Wow. You cannot obtain mindset. You cannot just, you know, you need to feel it, you need to live it, you need to love it. So I guess the people are the most important. It's the mindset of the management that is most important. If the management is creative, if the management is reliable, the rest will fall into place.
And if you are not doing with the best people, when he select anything, people think, well, if JD like this, means everybody will like it.
And I have to have a good partner. I have to have a partner who understands the design, the color, the texture, and who is willing to do it. It's a lot of work. Can anybody be a weaver? Absolutely. You can learn the knotting systems, and you can easily support your family working and making carpets. But for us, it is much more important to have people with passion, because they have to be able to combine and mix and match all these unusual knotting systems in order to create our little masterpieces. So yeah, it takes about 6 months to build a collection. You start with the drawings, with the renderings, with sketches, then you give them to the artists here who actually do the graph papers, and they apply on the map, knot by knot. Every single dot on the graph represents one knot. And then that gets to the weavers, they make the initial sample, then we make corrections on those samples, then we order full-size rugs or another run of samples. So altogether it probably takes about 6 months to get a collection. The reason for the programming of the whole thing is that you have this in the showroom. A designer, an architect comes and they pick the carpet based on the sample. So you have to be able to replicate it exactly. So whether we get an order 6 months from now or a year from now or 2 years from now, we have to be able to replicate this exactly. This is the graph. Disregard the colors. Colors are only for the weavers, so they see clearly which color goes where, which type of knot goes where, which pile height goes where, and this contains only technical information for the weaver. It is done in maximally contrasted colors, so it's easy to read, easy to remember, easy to see. Notice it has the grid on it. So each grid shows you every knot on the carpet. Look how many you have. Thousands and thousands and millions of little tiny knots which weavers have to weave. He drew this much, this is the size of paper. Now he drew another piece and he's gluing them together. At the end, this graph will be the size of the carpet. So think about it, it's kind of, you have to do it twice. First you have to draw it, and then you have to weave it. This is warp. It consists of thousands of little strings of yarn. It takes about a month of preparations before we even start weaving. Oh, we're preparing warp, right. This is warp for our little experimentations with fabric lining. This is warp already set up on loom. Now you can understand why it takes weeks of preparations. See, every imperfection gets looked through, repaired, This carpet is handmade, so it doesn't matter whether the nut is inserted on the loom or when it comes off the loom. So every imperfect nut gets replaced and reknotted in the same way as it was done on the loom. It may take possibly another week to just fix all the imperfections. Attention to detail and precision is absolutely essential. Look at this. If I hold scissors perfectly horizontally while shearing the edges, the piece will look beautiful and sophisticated. If I hold them under an angle, the edges will look cheap and unattractive. I love showing this to people. Whenever we have a customer who asks, "Can I wash my carpet?" Look. Could you possibly think about a more inspiring place to work? Yeah, you were asking what inspires me, what tickles me. You know, you get a color like this, and it's so damn tickly. I have very emotional, vivid, physical reaction to colors, and I just feel them. It really sends chill down my spine when I see blue like this. Nobody else in the world that I know of is capable of dyeing colors like this. Look at this. It's phenomenal.
Now it's a big change from the 40 years. Before we make only wool. Now Jacob comes every time, he creates new things. Now these days we make sumac, we make flat weaves, different kind of textures. And every time he comes we create new things.
So this is regular Tibetan production. 100 line, wool and silk, simple designs. This is what people have been making here for the last 30, 40, 50 years, since the 1960s. Ordinary Tibetan weaves. Nothing else, nothing more. Now you can see why we are such revolutionaries. This, as you can see, has nothing to do with the original thing. And nobody in the whole Nepal ever thought of making things like this, like this, like this. Oh, one more thing. It's winter, end of December. There's no heat here. Don't they look extremely uncomfortable weaving like that? Wouldn't you agree? So we tried to build different looms for them, where they can sit comfortably and weave in a proper sitting position. Guess what? They vehemently refused to do that. There is no chance these guys would ever agree to change their position while weaving. This is how their grandparents were weaving, this is how their parents were weaving, this is how they are weaving. We're trying to, I don't know. You know, it's soft, yeah. But it looks, you know, cheap. I don't know what to tell you. We're trying to develop our first fabric line here. So we got the first run of our fabrics, and I'm kind of disappointed. I don't like it. And the most frustrating part about it is that you pick your yarn, make your decisions. You work for literally 5 minutes, and then you sit and wait and wait and wait for them to make a little piece like this, and then you make changes, and then again you sit and wait. Oh my God, it's phenomenal. Just for flat weave. All right, dry it for me, This is really cool. This is really cool. Oh, okay. We are back on track. The problem was that the idea of broadloom and fabric was kind of getting mixed up. So now that we separated the materials and we separated the concepts and the thicknesses of yarns and everything else, now we're back on track. If we choose the colors now and the yarns, they might be able to rig the loom overnight, and we will start seeing some effects in the morning.
Thank you. Great job. Great work. Thanks.
We started JD Staron about 10 years ago out of tiny little apartment on Brooklyn waterfront in New York. Since then, we opened 8 showrooms and we do distribution of machine carpeting through almost 200 outlets. Just now, we opened this magnificent flagship store in the center of Paris. In this very short period of time, we became a real force in the interior design industry. I hope you enjoyed our journey through some of the most exotic locations on the planet. I also hope that as a design professional, when you enter any of our showrooms, now you will understand how much sweat and work and creativity has to come together in order to make any of our rugs.